What's going on? Back here on TSP, I am Dr. Evil Genius here as the master clickbaiter. Now, we received a lot of criticism. That's probably not fair to say. We received a small amount of criticism saying that we're trying to get clout off of Sneako's name and whatever he's going through, yada, yada, yada. Well, we're going to lean into it here on TSP. I am now going to give my take as somebody who doesn't know Sneako, never knew Sneako, except for seeing him do that really weird Andrew Tate hand gesture thing that he did, where it was clear that he is following somebody else and not creating his own persona for himself. Now, I want to make sure that I kind of wipe that out of my mind, try to get those biases out of my mind, and actually listen to him and see what he has to say. Right here on TSP, we are going to cover yet another It's Complicated video. This time, they decided to drop this collaboration with all the crazy stuff that's going on between him and Moist Critical, etc., etc. They dropped this interview that they did. I don't know how old this interview is, but I know that about an hour ago, they dropped this video. So I wanted to kind of go over it, and I want to see if Sneako is everything his sycophants and his haters claim that he is. All right, let's check it out.
It's complicated.
Sneako, before I ask you about you, is there anything you'd like to know about me?
That's a good question.
It's complicated.
It's I just did the thing that happened in the video. That's how good of an interviewer you are. What red pill do you? I can't. That wasn't even a joke. I genuinely said
what red pill me. There was a documentary called The Red Pill.
Yep, which I watched.
So I watched The Red Pill, and I think the Red Pill's goal, as in the title, is to red pill you. So
well, I'm going to step in and agree. I'm going to disagree with It's Complicated on this point. When the woman who created the Red Pill documentary set out to create her documentary, she did not really do so originally in good faith. And this is something that she admitted to in a TED Talk a few years back. She intended to make fun of men's rights activists because she just looked at them as incels who can't get none, who are just mad that they can't dictate to women who they offer their bodies to. When she actually listened to what the men's rights activists had to say, she ended up with a very different conclusion, when in the beginning she did not really intend on listening to what they had to say. She intended on trying to twist their words to make them sound bad. And she caught herself in it. She became more of a professional. And she actually listened to what they said. She actually listened to what they were going through and what their experiences were. And then she came out with a much different outcome with her work. So this was a person that was a radical feminist that was ready to shit on all of these guys. So I don't think that when she actually released it, she said, you know what, we're going to red pill other people. I think that she went into it one way, came out the other way, and then she put out what she found and to let you make the decision. I don't think that she was trying to make some sort of value judgment when she released it. I think that she wanted to release all the information out to you and then let you decide what value you place on what she found.
I would say also just, there were times where I would pretty much just go out and have experiences, and then I'd say, wait a second, like all these women say they want this type of guy, and I'm like, you want a good guy? Would you even know a good guy if he even fell on your lap?
Do you think that it happened later in life, or was getting red pilled something that you saw early on?
I would say kind of like some of the earliest things that I heard about female nature. I used to listen to the Tom Likas show on the way back when I was in film school. I would pretty much, drive home from college, and I'd be stuck in LA traffic for about 2 hours, and I listened to this man called Tom Likas, and he would just talk about women's obsession with money, and it was just way too honest. And he'd even have people call into his show and ask him, or just call up and just give him like hate comments, or he'd respond to his haters pretty much, kind of like the way Kevin Samuels would respond to the smoke shows and things like that.
Those smoke shows.
Are familiar with?
Yeah.
It's funny how you asked me about Red Pill. Sneako, how did you discover Red Pill?
It was back in high school, probably. I used to read the Red Pill subreddit, which got taken down. It's funny that everybody starts to wake up to this, to the agenda of how we're supposed to keep control compliant and constantly spending on shit that doesn't matter to make a specific group of people richer. I was realizing a lot of this stuff when I was going through puberty, when I was a teenager. And I think what could Red Pill people quickly is understanding that everything follows the money. So anything that you see in the news or anything that people are getting hyped about, any mob mentality, there's somebody getting rich off of it. And we're on YouTube, so I can't be too specific about some things that have got me deplatformed off of YouTube. But if there's a huge outrage, there's mobs of people screaming about one specific thing, you have to do this. You always think someone is getting rich off of it.
Now, what Sneako was talking about is the fact that here in the United States, at least, women make 85% of all consumer purchase decisions, meaning that for every dollar that is spent on consumer goods and services, 85 cents is spent by women. Now, some of that money is from money that they've borrowed that they have not yet earned. Actually, that's probably a large portion of it. Some of that money is money that women earned on their own. A good amount of that money is money that men earned, and the women in their lives are making the purchase decisions for them. So when corporations look at who they are going to pander to, they're going to cater to the group of people that make the buying decisions so that they can better and more efficiently dig in the pockets of the American consumer. And by and large, the American consumer is the woman. The woman is the American consumer. So you can't have too many voices that make the American consumer unhappy, because then they stop buying. And that's the kind of agenda and the sort of corporate shadowy nonsense that Sneako is speaking about. Now, I got to tell you, from this point, I'm not seeing this unhinged hater of women just kind of speaking on things that is verifiable. You can find the information. It's public. It's on the public record. It's public knowledge. So I'm not hearing anything yet that makes this guy, this horrible massager of knees. Not yet, but let's continue.
And I think I understood that at a young age. And what really opened my mind to this was the Red Pill subreddit. And of course, they took that down. They took down the Donald Trump subreddit. And even I read this book called The Game by Neil Strauss. I'm sure you read that book too, right? He was a victim of cancel culture as well. They called him a misogynist. In the news, they said he was a bad person. And that was even before the internet. So just really wanting to figure out how to pick up girls and how to talk to women, because I used to be extremely afraid of talking to girls. I think like most guys can relate to that if we don't talk about it. It used to freak me out, and I was just looking for advice online because there was nobody giving me good advice in my real life. They told me to be a gentleman, buy flowers, take her on a date, do the Disney movie romantic shit, and it didn't work. I would get walked all over, and I would notice, like, look at me trying to be a romantic, like I'm giving all my attention, like picking up the phone, talking to this girl back in 5th grade. Like, I would pick up the phone call for a girl that I had a crush on when she was crying about her actual boyfriend. And so I'm listening on the phone like, yeah, one day she'll see that I'm the nice guy and that I really care about her. And it doesn't work.
And again, he is representing in his retelling of the events since the 5th grade, that story that many young men, and I'm not even a young man anymore, and I can relate to the exact situation that he's talking about. I went through it in the 6th grade. one of the things that annoys me the most about how young men are framed by feminists, Brad, Tyrone, they're always framing the nice guy as somebody who is faking so that they can try to slip in through the back door for sexual access. And let me be very clear. I've said this on this podcast before. The vast majority of nice guys are actually just nice guys. Men are very romantic people. When we were boys, we watched the same Disney movies that the girls did. So a lot of times in the red pill spaces, we're quick to criticize women for having this Disney fantasy ideology in their head. But many of us young boys grew up with that too, wanting to be the Prince Charming, wanting to sweep her off her feet, not fantasizing about sexual access, but emotional access and affection. That's what we grew up on. Now, when the girls expect to be treated like a princess, everybody celebrates it. But when the boys want to be a prince, you're a massager of knees. How is that fair? And then when the guys realize that the girls are not really interested in the guys that actually care about them, and make no mistake, the first heartbreak, normally black pills or red pills, young men. They start out hopeless romantics. I was one of them. And then you find out, you take the red pill, not the blue one, you find out that everything that you thought you knew based upon what the girls were telling you, what they said they want, and what our parents told us to do when we were asking about how to deal with girls going through puberty, which is a very confusing time. We find out all of that is bullshit.
And actually, that was probably one of the first instances that red pilled me. It's like the guy that's treating her like shit is getting all the attention, all the emotion, and I'm over here off to the side giving her all my love and affection. And
He didn't say he was like, oh my God, I'm over here giving her all of the access to my penis. Love and affection. Not the fake love and affection so I can get laid. That's not what he's talking about. And for the vast majority of guys who are non-select guys, that principle applies to them too.
it's not being reciprocated at all. So even back in the playground, you can realize how women are just attracted to people that don't need them. And
Too true.
Nobody will tell you that because it sounds cold-hearted, and even saying that will make women look materialistic or make women seem shallow. So
yeah, it's true. Women want to be seen as prim and proper because that's how they've always been seen. That's their societal advantage. When he says that women are attracted to men that don't need them, what he's in effect saying is women are attracted to men with options. The guy that shows that he needs a woman and shows that he's so into her, she looks at that as a guy who can't get anybody else. Why aren't the girls clamoring for him? Why isn't he brushing off the advantages of these girls, of these women? Well, if the other ones don't want him, I don't want him either. And you've seen women on various podcasts say these types of things. I want an alpha type of man that has a lot of sexual access, but then forgoes his sexual access and only is loyal to me. Why? Because that's how the women compete with other women. Which is the best guy that you can get to commit to you and not the other women? No woman cares about the guy that is willing to commit to them that no other women are checking for.
So you're not supposed to talk about that, but inherently that's the basis of attraction. You are attracted to something that doesn't need you.
You want what you can't have.
You want what you can't have.
It's funny because I was going to ask you, was there ever a time you struggled with women and dating, and you just answered it? So
I still do. Dating is hard, and I think everybody struggles with it. And I think right now the main struggle is trying to balance, like, how much of myself do I protect and how independent do I stay to not be vulnerable or not get f***ed over, and then how much do I allow myself to be open and to learn about someone else and to follow the Disney movie love stuff that the red pill doesn't really talk about, because I think a lot of people think that in the red pill space that love isn't real, but at the same time, I don't believe that people don't crave it or don't yearn for it. So it's the balance of finding about how much you can be in your masculine frame and how much you can open up and connect with somebody.
This is very, very well said. Again, I'm not seeing this massager of knees, this knee massager. I'm not seeing it. And he's absolutely correct. Even guys in red pill spaces wish they could be blue pilled. Even in the film, there's a dude there that had already been red pilled, and that he was offered to go back to being jacked into the Matrix. He knew the steak was fake, but wow, it tasted real to him. Ignorance is bliss. Do you remember that? For those who've seen The Matrix, what was it, The Matrix Reloaded? Or was it The Matrix Revolutions? Doesn't matter. The point is that even the most staunch red pill, the black pill guys, if they felt like they had a legitimate chance to be with a woman and stay with her and not get divorced, raped, not have whatever children they have used against them in family court, being jerked around for custody of the kids, a lot of those black pill guys would turn instantly blue pill. A lot of these red pill guys would turn instantly blue pill. It's in our nature to want to be with the women that are around us. And to say anything else other besides that is to try to invalidate the very real desires, feelings, and experiences of men as they've been living life for probably the last 50 years. You're basically telling them, you're gaslighting them, for those that love those leftist buzzwords, you're gaslighting them by telling them that their experiences aren't actually happening.
Has the fact that you've become, a more recognizable person, maybe, increased your status, has that actually helped or hurt your...
I think it hurt. I think I was getting more women back in college when I wasn't really known, and I just mostly had just a reputation for being like the cool party guy, or I was out and I had good networking. I talked to a lot of people, all the stuff that you need in the business world. I was like that at college. I was like, oh yeah, who's that guy? And then once I started to get more famous and recognizable, you get more expectations of you. And then most of your life is out there in public, and then people can message people, or they have different, or a lot of the time the women will think that you're getting all these women because you're famous. And so they're like, I'm not one of those easy girls. And that's something everybody hears, but that has multiplied times 10 since becoming famous. Like, oh, you think I'm just one of those groupies? Like, I'm like, oh, well, just, okay. And then you got to fight way more layers of that. Oh, you think I'm that easy? And like, okay, all right, here we go. And then I just get kind of aggravated and don't feel like wasting my time.
I love the way how he frames this. And I've run all kinds of social experiments, from the way that I dress, building up my physique, driving nice cars, sports cars, luxury cars, the whole bit. What he's saying is 100% correct. So I'm going to kind of translate what he's saying. When the girl says, I'm not that easy, what in effect she's saying is I want to be that easy, but I want to feel as if I've been pursued by somebody who has value because he has clout, because he has power in some certain group, because other people recognize him as being notable. I don't want to go kissing up to him because I want to appear valuable, even though he has all of the leverage in this situation. I don't want him to think that he does, and I don't want other people to look at me as if I believe that he has the leverage, because I'm so important. When I drive my little blue sports car with the top down in the summertime, everybody yells nice things at me, middle-aged people of all races, people in their golden years. always have something nice to say, a smile, a nod. You know who tries to act like they don't see me? The women in the age group that would be most attracted to a guy with a little blue convertible sports car, like what I have. And I always catch them looking when they think I can't see them looking. Then they turn back. I'm like, I already see through your facade. See, you don't want to get caught gawking because then your materialism will be put on full display. I know you like what you see. Everybody knows that you do. But you don't want anybody to think that you are as materialistic / shallow as you actually are.
Ultimately, I think it's more about character than anything with women. I think that surface level stuff that can get you in the door, of course, having the blue check on Instagram or being in the right spaces. Like right here, I'm in Vegas right now, and I'm gonna party with the Nelk boys. So obviously, I'm gonna have access to a lot of women that most guys will never just be able to be around. But in order to get the clothes or to go from that to where you really want to go, I think a lot of the time it really is about character. I don't think that girls are fucking for a Birkin bag like they are. I think that's something that's perpetuated in music a lot of time, but in my experience, I haven't dealt with a lot of these shallow women to that extent.
Now, I got to give this guy a lot of credit. Again, I keep looking for this guy who chronically and criminally massages knees, and I can't find him. Not in this interview. And normally when you're in like company, especially in the red pill, you think, oh, well, I can say these things because this guy is going to agree with me. And then you normally see guys say some outrageous things when they think that they're in company of like minds. You have two red pill guys haven't heard a single thing to this point that is unreasonable or not based in experiences, not based in what they've witnessed, the statistics that they've seen. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing this horrible guy. Not seeing it. Now, in the comment section, you let us know what you think. Do you think that here on TSP, we're just clout chasing off of Sneako's name? Or are we clout chasing off of its complicated channel since we respond to their videos on a regular basis? Do you think that Sneako is this crazy guy that just rants and says a lot of evil things and does a lot of evil things? Or do you think that it's a little more complicated? It's just a little more complicated when you look at who he actually is as a human being, not the content creator. Leave all of your comments down below in the comment box, and we'll see you on the next one.